Hey friends, welcome back to another day in the life. My name is Audrey. If you're new here, my husband and I have 8 children and we live on a 6-acre homestead in the Midlands of South Carolina. We had a fun and full weekend. My mother and mother-in-law and I went back up to Virginia, where our second son is in college as a musical theater major, and saw him perform in Titanic the musical for the second time. It was fantastic. I'm so glad we got to go back, and we had a fun little girls getaway. First thing Monday morning, I had the biopsy of my thyroid. If you are new here, I have a really large nodule on the right side of my thyroid. I had the left removed in 2009 because they thought it was cancer then, and it was not. However, due to the size of the nodule on my right side, it warranted a biopsy again. So I will get results toward the end of the week, and I had to leave the spot covered for 24 hours. I slept well last night, and this biopsy was much more pleasant than the first, where I had no anesthesia whatsoever. In my true and normal fashion, I went straight from the hospital to about 45 minutes away to a livestock market where I was meeting our livestock vet to get some hormones from him to give shots to our 2 cows that we intend to artificially inseminate this weekend, because cows have to have babies if you want to continue to have milk. So I would appreciate your prayers that this AI is successful. We would love to have 2 calves and 2 cows in milk within about 9 months. I will keep you posted on that for sure. It was an absolutely gorgeous day. I came home and all 3 of my teenage girls were sitting on the steps of the porch using this really cool bubble maker that my mom had gotten to play with the little kids, but the big kids are enjoying it just as much. They make these massive, like human-sized bubbles. I mean, if they weren't so fragile, you could fit inside one. Some of them are enormous, and they'll just float off for the longest time, some of them. They're really neat. While the teenagers were outside playing or preoccupied upstairs, I took advantage of an empty kitchen and decided to mop. This is probably the first time I've mopped in several weeks, which is really gross considering we live on a farm. It just never seems to take priority, and the kitchen is rarely empty. I use my Bissell spin wave that I got on Amazon for Christmas a few years ago, and for the solution, I use Force of Nature. Something that's been on my mental to-do list for several weeks now is to clean out the greenhouse and get ready for all of the seeds that we've started and that will need to be up-potted and expand space very soon. Don't even ask me how it got to this state. It's like my family used it as an outside junk drawer, a very, very large junk drawer. There are some things in here that just need to go straight to the trash, quite a few things that just need to be put back where they belong, some of them in Josh's shed, and then other items like these green seat cushions we just put in here to protect from the elements over the winter. Now, if you see all these bags all over the floor, they are empty feed sacks, and because they are multi-layer heavy-duty paper, we hang on to them. There's a massive stack on the right side. I don't know if you can see it well from here, but we hang on to those because they make perfect weed barriers in the garden or in any of our beds around the outside of the house. They help deter weeds, and we just put mulch on top of them typically. So we do like to hang on to the ones that are still in good shape and not wet and full of ants. Now I am arranging my seedlings. This is so much better. That only took me maybe 25 or 30 minutes, and I feel much better. We really ought to spray off the ground. And here we've got some heavy duty wheat plastic down, but the kids have made such a mess of the chicken feed. I really need to spray it and scrub it really well, but this will do for now. It is just about time for me to start up potting my peppers and tomatoes, and I will do another video of that soon. This entire seed tray is full of sunflowers, lots of different sunflowers. Some of them got a bit leggy because they grew so fast when I started them. Then this tray over here is full of different squashes, maybe some cucumbers, as well as nasturtium. Oh, calendula. There's calendula and nasturtium. Those are the main things in that one. Then moving on over here, there's a loofah seed on the left, some basil and dill, and all the rest are tomatoes. I don't remember how many varieties I started this year, but I had a really great germination rate, and I am so excited to move these up to bigger pots and watch them start to really flourish. This is my tray with the squashes and cucumbers. as well as some kale, lettuce, and it looks like a little bit of peppers over there on the right. I've got to look back at my chart and see what those are. This poor little seed tray survived being dropped by some sweet helping hands last weekend when we were moving things out to the greenhouse. She cried. She felt so bad, but they're fine. Thankfully, that was mostly flowers, so there was no big loss. And this tray is almost all peppers, a variety of hot peppers, bell peppers, all different colors, as well as a few more cucumbers. I wanted to give you a peek at our strawberry bed. I shared with you when I put all of these in the ground, and I cannot get over what a few days of rain and some warm weather and sunshine, all of these are coming up amazingly well. I cannot wait to see these get large and start to set fruit. Speaking of fruit, our peach tree is about to explode. It is completely full of all of these beautiful pink peach blossoms. I will definitely share with you when they all pop open and this whole tree is covered in pink flowers. It's one of my favorite times of the year in the South. I will be sharing my March grocery haul with you tomorrow, but this was after my grocery haul. I decided to go ahead and prep some of this meat as well as doing some meal prep for this week. So here I am seasoning some bone-in pork chops because my oldest daughter requested bone-in because I usually buy boneless. And I seasoned them up and I'm going to put them in the sous vide. I also seasoned some ribeye steaks that I had gotten from my husband and I as we try to stick to a bit more of a low carb diet. And I seasoned those, wrapped them individually, and stuck them in the freezer. Well, I will be using those with the sous vide as well. But for tonight, we are putting bone-in pork chops in the sous vide, and then we will have mashed potatoes and probably some roasted Brussels sprouts because it's been like 2 weeks since I've had any because we ran out, we ate them all, and they are still one of my very favorites. When I'm filling the pot that I'm going to use for the sous vide, I like to use hot water. I feel like it gives the sous vide a head start in coming up to temperature. Then I place my baggies in the water, and don't worry if they still have some air in them and they want to float. I just open it just a tiny bit, push the meat down into the water, make sure not to let any water into your bag, and that really naturally forces all of the air out, and then I seal it back up. Since we have granite countertops, which tend to stay cold all year round, I like to set my pot on either a dish drying mat or just a dish towel folded in half before I get it going because I don't want anything to mess with the regulation of the temperature. For pork, I like to set it on 137 degrees as long as I'm doing it for at least 4 hours. I think today I set it for 5, and then you get to walk away. I absolutely love it. So see, when I used hot water in this one, it automatically started at 110 degrees. It will rise to temperature pretty quickly, but it'll never go over it. And because your meat is not sitting in water, it is just the most perfect tender meat you'll ever put in your mouth. Now I am taking the meat off 2 rotisserie chickens, which I purchased in my grocery haul. My youngest daughter has been requesting chicken fettuccine alfredo for a few weeks now, so I am finally obliging. I love using rotisserie chicken for fettuccine alfredo because it already has so much flavor. The other chicken I will just pull off in big chunks and stick in the freezer. While I have 2 rotisserie chicken carcasses, I am going to go ahead and restock the chicken stock in my pantry. We have been completely out for about a week and a half, and if I do 2 of these 10-quart Instant Pots full of water with the chicken carcass, I do about an hour and a half on high pressure with a generous splash of apple cider vinegar to pull out all the good stuff in the bones. I will end up with 14 quarts of chicken stock to pressure can and put back in my pantry. It's little habits like these that take maybe an extra 2 minutes in my day that really help things move along smoothly in my house. And with regards to food storage, this is going to be 14 quarts of chicken stock that I can put back on my pantry shelf by the end of the day today. I'm already home. We don't have anything planned for tonight. And by the end of this video, all of my dinner will be prepped and my kitchen will be clean and ready for bed basically by 3 o'clock this afternoon. So why not go ahead and take advantage of this time and already being in the kitchen by starting this chicken stock. As we have successfully been working our way through the food in our freezers since January, I am finally able to clean out the freezer drawer under our kitchen fridge. Now, I don't know how these ice cubes and bits of ice end up all over the place, but I had an entire mixing bowl full of nasty ice cubes. And I will tell you, as you can see from the look of this freezer drawer, I'm pretty sure this is the first time this has been thoroughly cleaned out since we built our house 5 years ago. I'm having to use a serving fork to scrape all of this pink ice that has just completely built up. I think it was condensation from when I froze some homemade cranberry sauce, and I must have stuck it in the freezer when it was still the slightest bit warm, and that is how I ended up with all of this ice. It was kind of a disaster. But once I got all of the ice out, I had a bowl of hot soapy water and just one cleaning rag, and everything came pretty easily clean. Wait till you see the end. I can't believe I was able to get it back to like new condition. I will definitely be maintaining this. It was not super fun to clean, but oh man, it's great to open the freezer now, and it's completely empty and completely cleaned out. Now, the next task will be moving on to the bottom portion of this freezer drawer, but it is still pretty full. I did come back with a clean, dry towel to be sure and dry off all of the areas that I cleaned that were still a little bit damp to prevent leftover moisture from freezing over and attracting more dirt and grime. Last night, my youngest son said, "Mama, can we have pork chops and mashed potatoes tomorrow?" And I thought, he never makes food requests, and I knew I was going to the grocery store, so I thought I would fulfill that request tonight and go ahead and get all of this stuff prepped. So the pork chops, as you know, are already in the sous vide. Now I am peeling the potatoes and going ahead and putting them straight into my other Instant Pot insert. I do have an 8-quart and a 10-quart. It's kind of a long story, but one of my original 8-quart died and it was still under warranty. Instant Pot was amazing. Customer service was fantastic, and they sent me a brand new 8-quart. But before all of that was fulfilled, my mom surprised me with a 10-quart for my birthday. Now, this was 4 or 5 years ago, but I have never regretted hanging on to 2 Instant Pots. I use them simultaneously all the time, and today is one of those days. So I've got the 10-quart going with the chicken stock, and then my favorite way to make mashed potatoes is to cut the potatoes in half, or the really big ones in thirds. Fill my Instant Pot just until the potatoes are covered with water. Add some salt, put it on high pressure for 8 minutes. And as I usually like to make things about beating the clock, I decided to see if I could get this mountain of laundry folded and possibly even put away in the time that it takes the Instant Pot to come up to pressure and then pressure can for 8 minutes. I had lots of laundry waiting for me when I got back from my little jaunt to Virginia this weekend. Josh and the kids held down the fort beautifully. The house was clean when I got home. It's always wonderful coming back, and you were hardly even missed. Everything runs like a well-oiled machine. But of course, laundry and dishes never end. All right, one trick that I learned just recently is that if you want smooth, creamy, non-lumpy mashed potatoes, which I personally love, I don't mind them with lumps in them either, but I really, really like some good, smooth, creamy mashed potatoes, then you need to mash them and mix them up when you have just drained them before you add butter or milk or cream or even your salt and pepper. So that is what I did first. I used my hand mixer. I didn't even mash them. They were so nice and soft. I just used the mixer on high speed and broke up all the lumps and mixed it all together really well. Now I am adding a whole stick of butter. This was about 5 or 6 pounds of potatoes. So I'm adding a stick of butter. This was about a cup of milk left in that jar, and then I'll add some salt, garlic powder, and pepper before I mix for the first time. Then I grabbed a new jar of milk out of the fridge, and since this one is still separated, it hadn't been shaken today, I take about 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream off the top of this milk and mix that in all together nicely. I did take a spoon and taste it to see what it was missing, and boy, was it missing salt. So I grabbed our salt cellar out of the cabinet and added a good generous, probably tablespoon. This tasted completely unsalted. So I don't even know that I had added any aside from putting it in the Instant Pot water. So I tasted it one last time. It is absolutely perfect. And then I edited out like the 6 or 7 additional bites that I took because it was that good. I learned a trick from an older friend years ago. If you are going to Freeze your mashed potatoes, or in my case, I'm going to put them back in the Instant Pot on keep warm for the next couple of hours until supper time. You want to add extra liquid. You want it to almost seem like, ooh, I think these are almost a little bit too runny. Then they're perfect, because when it's time to serve them, they will have thickened up a little bit more and they will be the perfect consistency. Or for example, if you defrost them and stick them back in the oven, they will be perfect. It is early afternoon and the bulk of my work is done, so I'm going to clean up the kitchen, finish putting these groceries away, and then I'm going to head out to Costco and to deliver some milk to friends. Our faucet in the laundry room has been out of commission for over a month now. It burst open in the middle of me bathing our little dog in the sink. It flooded the laundry room and we have not had any water in there since. So I am thrilled to find a great heavy-duty faucet at Costco. We are going to replace that and we will be back in business. It's amazing how much we have used that sink in the laundry room, and we've really missed not having it. When I get back from running errands, I will hang up the clothes that were left on my bed, tidy things up a bit in there. It's a bit late in the day to bother making the bed. And then I will pressure can the chicken stock that is in the Instant Pot and get the second batch going. And then I will get to relax and call it a night and hang with my family for the rest of the evening. Thanks for watching.